Hi, I'm Major Pete Birchenough from Headquarters Air Mobility Command, Electronic Flight Bag Program Manager and Team Lead. Thank you for considering us in the Chief of Staff Team Excellence Award. Our aircrew fly every day with flight manuals and heavy paper, upwards of 90 pounds each. And with that comes the management and the cost of paper in a time where the nation's budgets are shrinking and we are in need of a better solution that enables our airmen in the ability to do their jobs. While some units had started to migrate to digital libraries, each unit had an individual solution. It wasn't standardized, and there was a lot of duplication of effort. So Headquarters AMC developed an initial solution called AMC EPUBs, a standardized and centralized library holding over 900 documents, 8.1 gigabytes worth of data, which was accessible anywhere in the world and managed by just one person. That was the first step towards a paperless cockpit, but aircrew members still required their own device or other form of media to view their publications anytime they were away from the office or aircraft. So crews were still having to carry paper as a primary means of reference. When commercial mobile technology started to appear in 2010, Travis Air Force Base started an AFSO 21 initiative that began exploring putting digital pubs onto a standardized, low-cost commercial off-the-shelf device. With the potential for the idea to become a mobility Air Force solution, AMC combined efforts with the team from Travis Air Force Base to go forward. The next step was proving that the savings was real, so we brought in Lynn Hulsman at AMC Finance to help with that research.
Well, making sure that the business case analysis was done properly, that all the calculations were correct, giving that information to public affairs after being coordinated through everybody here, that they got the right information, that the numbers and the facts and figures that they were using was actually what was published and what was given to the team.
The logistics were extremely complicated, with as many agencies, organizations, and MAJCOMs that this involved. There are over 16,000 aircrew members in the Mobility Air Force, involving several different aircraft, spanning over 100 units, scattered across 80 bases within 5 MAJCOMs: AMC, the Guard, Reserves, PACAF, and USAFE. We had to collect data from Air Force Materiel Command on the printing and distribution cost of all the flight manuals for each aircraft. We had to go to the Fuel Efficiency Office to research how much fuel could be saved by removing the weight from the aircraft. We had to go to the NGA to determine how much the printing and distribution of the maps and charts would save. Working with the NGA to get those numbers was very cumbersome and took over 6 months in itself. At one point, we were staring at a spreadsheet with over 65,000 lines, not to mention gathering the shipping and POC information for all the units when it came time. Anytime you're talking about Department of Defense information, technology, or mobile devices, comm becomes part of the equation. And lucky for us, we found Mr. Jeff Shields and Justin Grayson out of A6. They worked in the Emerging Technologies branch, where they carried Androids, iPads, and these types of devices. So we started a partnership right away.
We provided them with the technical information on the devices, the type of communications that the devices do, what sort of documents are going to be stored on it, and how these devices and the documents need to be protected and controlled. This new technology has such great and vast capabilities that wasn't realized when these policies were written. The policies are lagging the technology, but they're catching up. It's happening very rapidly.
We looked at over a dozen devices, determining what size and weight was acceptable. Speed was important, but most of all was functionality. It had to be fast or faster than paper reference. We had to design requirements around those key features that we liked, and then design testing criteria to those requirements. Rich Quidgen and Ed Jocelyn from our requirements branch had helped out in writing our business case, and we went back to them to help us write those requirements.
Working with A6CT, we had to formulate plans to get the technology out in the field in a legal way to follow all the guidelines that came from the Pentagon and other locations. Probably our single biggest technical hurdle in trying to get Apple technology, simply because they do electronic security differently than the way Windows does it. And because of that, DISA and the organizations that are responsible for checking security in the IT world are very unfamiliar with it. We had to go through a lot of discussion and debate with those security folks in order to allow us to work with Apple.
Had a Windows device been an adequate solution for EFB, it would have been a lot easier. Going with a non-Windows device garnered an unbelievable amount of resistance from virtually every agency. It was a culture shock. We were breaking paradigms and questioning policies that just didn't address the commercial technology of today. Many of our issues were born out of the inertia of standing still. We found that a lot of what was standing in our way was simply policy that we had control over. It takes special people to take on those policy changes. The proof was in the numbers, and the savings was there, but with budgets decreasing and cuts in personnel, we were keenly aware of the sensitivity required. This device is largely used for commercial entertainment, and we were trying to use it as a warfighting device. The optics of having a positive message ready when those questions arose was very important, so we needed public affairs to join the team.
From the public affairs perspective, it was an honor to be on a team of experts from multiple directorates and major commands across the Air Force. I partnered with Kathleen Ferrero, who has since separated yet continues to represent total force integration by serving as a reserve officer. The entire team helped draft a 27-page communication plan that provided the wings, major commands, and air staff a consistent message that this project met the President's 2011 executive order to use electronic devices to improve efficiencies and reduce printing costs.
At the same time, we also engaged A7, our contracting folks, Ms. Karen Kinzel and Deanne Turner, to come up with a solid contracting plan that would give us a great competition for the best price that would not garner any negative press or potential protest. And with the help of Lieutenant Colonel Brian Martin at the JAG, we were able to meet every one of our goals. Adding to the benefits is reduction in the management of paper. Changing out the maps and charts is the most time-consuming paper we deal with, and it made up most of what the air crews are carrying. It's required to be swapped out every 28 days. 30 shopping carts of trash every 2 months at Travis Air Force Base alone. That's a huge undertaking that takes away from primary duties for everyone involved. The other benefit the EFB gave us was safety. All the heads down time trying to manage the paper in the cockpit takes away from situational awareness. So when you were used to looking for paper around the cockpit, it's now all in one spot in front of you. There's no more asking, where's my high five chart? Or do you know where the flight plan is? It's all in one spot. Another amazing thing about this team is that we are separated geographically. We have members in Seattle, Washington, and California. Many of us reside right here at Scott Air Force Base, but we're buildings apart. It would have been very difficult if we were all in the same room trying to figure this out, but being that we were separated by time zones made it even more challenging and even more important that our communication was frequent. So we took advantage of the social tools available to effectively communicate with those 100+ units across 80 bases and ourselves, not only to share information, but to enable units to collaborate with each other in answering the common technical questions. This has allowed us to free up resources to focus on other priorities within this growing program. We have become the recognized lead command in the Air Force for EFB, and the focal point in helping shape EFB initiatives in Air Force Special Operations Command, Global Strike Command, Air Education and Training Command, and Air Combat Command. The Air Force Flight Standards Agency is using our EFB program as a benchmark for the Air Force. Not only are we the first within the Air Force, but also among the DoD components. We're working closely with all of the services to share our plan of success to include not just the Army, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard, but the Department of Energy as well. Our recognized lead status doesn't stop at our borders. We are engaged with our international allies in Canada, the UK, NATO, and Australia. All eyes are on AMC. Electronic Flight Bag is really blazing the way for the Air Force. EFB doesn't just stop at paper for the aircrew. There's so much more potential to be realized. This program opens the door for all those other initiatives that want to take advantage of this technology and has begun to break down the paradigms and open up the realm of possible. It gets our airmen excited and hopefully sets the bar for others to drive forward and challenge policies for great ideas, and we're happy to be part of that. Thanks again for the honor and privilege of being nominated for the Chief of Staff Team Excellence Award.